Hi guys, welcome back and thanks for joining me. In this video what I wanted to say was throughout these videos I was meant to have put the locations of all the places I parked, and I ballsed up big time. I didn't turn locations on Google Maps, so that was a bit ballsed up. But in all honesty, if you look to the left, places like this come up everywhere you go, and it would have been a waste of my time really. All you would have done is go out there and try and follow a particular route that I'd done, and you don't need to do that. France and Spain have opened itself up to the public, to people with motorhomes and vans, and you're encouraged to go out there and make use of the countryside and the beaches and the facilities available. So trying to label little places to park would be a total waste of time. I've labelled a couple of them, and yeah, it might be useful to you, but in all honesty, you don't need to do it. You don't need to follow somebody else's route. Just go out there, travel the country, find your own way, and you'll be surprised at what you find. Because coming back to England, you'll find it difficult to want to stay here in England with your van. France and Spain, to me, is I can go back there and live there tomorrow or today. In fact, I would not hesitate. If I had a way of making money out there, I would pack up and leave right now. So that's how I feel about this country and the way it treats people in vans. It's inspiring, and it's a shame that Britain hasn't picked up on this and made use of its countryside. Now the next park up, I have put what 3 words up, and that's because this place became really popular with YouTubers. We met up with quite a few people, really good people. We had a great time, and we had a bit of a party, and I'll leave you with that.
So I think it's 7:30 in the morning. I'll just take you around and show you where we are for today. We are parked there. Spin around. And I'll just take you up here. We've got Wanda sometimes here in between me. And if this video sounds a bit lame, it's because last night we drank a bottle of whiskey and I feel shit. Like yesterday, I went out up there somewhere and I caught a stingray or some sort of ray. I'll put a picture in here somewhere.
I wouldn't be too worried when coming out here if you don't speak any French or Spanish, neither do I. And one great thing about van life is that it doesn't matter whether you've got a motorhome, a bus, a coach, or whatever you've got, you're accepted. I think you might know those 2 guys. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Oh, a boat might be an exception though. When you're travelling down these sandy roads, there is the possibility of getting stuck. And you see here that I've gone off track a little bit because I realised that the road ahead wasn't quite right, and I didn't want to go across it. And this story, I guess, is about getting stuck, and I'll tell you all about that now. So you probably noticed just now that I diverted off the soft sandy stuff, and I've stopped again here to have a look at the ground in front of me because I saw another little bit up in front that I wasn't too happy about, and I was trying to work out how I was going to turn around. So I decided that this the bit that I'm approaching now was a bit soft, and I felt it when I went over it. And my van's got traction control, and I decided to go straight through it and not turn on that bit. And I went over here on some tougher stuff. Graham, unfortunately, he's driving a 7.5 ton bus coming along behind me, he didn't see me do that. All he see was me and Ian drive up there, turn around and pull back off. So I'll speed it up and have a look to see what happens. But yeah, Graham tends to get stuck a lot.
Okay, so it's the second time on this trip. Graham's got himself in a bit of stuck. And as you can see, we've dug this one out, this one here. We've dug that one out and packed it full of stones. Same on all sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just set the camera back here and go and help. So let's see where we are. You stressed?
I think we're going to have to bring somebody in.
I think we might need a tractor.
So I think you can guess by the look on Graham's face, he was getting kind of worried at this point. And to be honest, so was I. Every time we tried to move it, it sank a little bit deeper. And now it was just almost sitting on the axle. And if it had gone much further, we wouldn't be able to get underneath it to put a tow rope or anything else around it or dig it out anymore. So yeah, someone came up with the idea that we use a leveling chock, and that melted and wasn't of much help because it melted itself into the groove between the two rear axle wheels, and that became impossible to get out. So yeah, we had a bit of a mission here, and it took us, I think, 2.5 hours of digging and attempting to move it. And now I wish I had real sand tracks at this point, because it could have made life a whole lot easier. We do carry some rescue equipment, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so for all you experts at home sitting there with your dinner on your lap, cup of tea in hand, saying, you should have done this, you should have done that, could have done it like this, could have done it like that, this is what you need to know. Back of the bus doesn't have any tow hook, there's nowhere to tow it from. Behind the bus is an hill and crappier ground than what we're standing on. So with that in mind, sit there and giggle, have your cup of tea, tell us how it should have been done in the comments, and I'll have a read of them and I'll have a laugh at you as well. So yeah, we didn't do too bad overall. We got it out in the end, and as you will see, it took its time and it wasn't easy. It was like 30 odd degrees out there, sweating our balls off, getting covered in dust, and I even took the time to film it as well, so I wasn't that bad, wasn't I? So what this video doesn't show is that the way we got it out was that the problem we had was every time we reversed back, it rolled back forward again because it had air brakes and they didn't stop perfectly on time. So it rolled back forward. So I had to sit at the front of the bus, throw a rock under the front wheel to try and stop it rolling back into its to the hole. And that's what we did. A very stupid idea because it could have got my hands run over, but it was the only way to actually get it out. So the equipment we take for recovery, we don't have sand tracks, unfortunately. We had to use a chock, and that failed drastically. We carry spades, we carry straps, towing ropes, stuff like that. We also didn't have a 7.5 ton jack to tow Graham's bus. We only had our 3.5 ton jacks. But yeah, we got it out eventually.
Well, how'd you feel now? Pleased?
Very.
Covered in shit.
When I saw that much off my fucking axle, I thought we're done.
Yeah.
I know if that axle bottoms out, we ain't got.
Yeah,
no
once you're on your
suspension.
chassis, you ain't getting nothing out. You're gonna have to dig the whole fucking thing out. What's happened?
Tank's alright.
What, the water tank's good?
Yeah, and damaged the water tank. It's just snapped the tap off.
repairable then, isn't it? Fred okay, yeah?
It's alright now. Anybody got any water to spare?
We'll get you out of this canyon first.
Well, you've got an extra inch of plastic on your tyre instead of rubber, so that will save you a bit.
Well, I think in the future you need to remember you're driving 7.5 tonne now, not a little full transit.
I got that bastard stuck when I was fishing once. Somebody had to pull me out.
Doesn't surprise me.
I'm glad I got my tyres on.
Yeah. So the damage is one chock, one strap, one water tank tap, and a couple of burnt clutches by the smell of it.
Just snap that off.
Oh, that's nothing. What, can you see that?
It means I can't get a shower in the morning.
You could probably plug that with a bit of silicone. Okay, so just to fill you in, we came along this lane here, and Graham, for the second time in the last 2 weeks, went and got himself stuck just about here. I'll take you up there and show you where. This is these holes that Graham's doing. That's where he buried his rear tyres, and that's where he buried his two front. And okay, so after Graham's van getting stuck yesterday, I came back to my van and found that I had no lights. All my lights are out. So I've been up early this morning, and I've been, as you can see here, I've been pulling out wires up here, and again down here, and there's Ian.
And they're on.
I think I've finally solved the problem. I've got lights again. You was right, that little panel up the top here is just a mass of crap. That's a little control panel, ain't doing much. So yeah, it looks like I've got lights, and I'm back up and running. Everything's a bit of a mess, but yeah, that's today's story at the moment. I'll keep you posted on what the situation was, why I had no lights, and what the issue was. So yeah, I'll get on and finish off doing what I'm doing, put things back together again, because we've still got to move today.
Having spent 2.5 hours digging Graham out, we weren't deterred to park up on the beach again, and yeah, I think you'll agree, no one's going to turn their back on a place like this, to have the opportunity to park here. So yeah, I think we spent a couple of nights here. What a lovely little place. Okay, so I did say that sometimes you could just drive out there and not know where you're going to park for the night, and this is one of those occasions. We had absolutely no idea we were going to stay here. We'd planned another stop, and everywhere we went in that town, or just on the outskirts of that town, there were no vehicles over 5.5 metres. So I don't know who the mayor was in that town, but he didn't like motorhomes for sure. But yeah, this is where we ended up, and it ain't a bad little place, this. Except for the flies. The flies drove us mad next morning. But could you imagine a park up like this in England, where you could have like Camp Quirky or South Central meets? What a meet that would be, eh? It was just one of those meets. It was the Stratford-upon-Avon 4x4 meet that me, Ian and Graham met up. And it was because of that meet that we got this plan together that we'd come out to Spain and do this trip. So I'd like to thank Graham and Ian for coming along on this journey, and the guys at Quirky, Stratford-upon-Avon and South Central for organising those meets, because if you hadn't have organised those meets, then none of this would have happened for us. So yeah, cheers guys for coming along, and I recommend to you guys who's thinking about getting a van, or if you've got a van and you've not been on any of those meets, you've got to get out there and do something and meet new friends, and those meets are a great place to do that. And if you want an adventure, go down there, meet some friends, put a plan together, go do it.